Welcome, superstar. Get ready. In this video, we're going to talk about the 4 factors that control your mindset. Your mindset determines so much about your experience of life. It determines how you approach challenges, how people respond to you, the energy that you're running day in, day out, your experience of life. Pretty much everything is connected to mindset. That's why it's so important to know how to influence your own mindset, how to lead yourself toward a more empowering and positive mindset day in, day out. So now that we've established the importance of mindset, let's get into what the 4 biggest components are that control your mindset. The first, and these are in no particular order, is your physiology. There is a very close connection between how your body is feeling and how your mind is doing. Basically, if you feel crappy, generally you're doing crappy too. And that's because our mindset is so closely interconnected with our hormones, with our neurotransmitters, with our sleep. Basically anything that influences our life force energy is also going to influence our mindset. I'm going to share a little bit with you about my story so that you understand my personal experience of living through this piece. So back in the day, in my 20s and 30s, I was very different than I am now. Some of you have already heard this in other videos, but I was quite the party girl. I worked in the magazine industry and I was in celebrity parties all the time. I even got helicoptered to a hip hop party in a mansion in Palm Beach and then limoed home. Like, I had quote unquote the life. And with that life came a lot of drinking and a lot less sleep than I needed. And on top of it all, I was a workaholic. My body was in really rough shape. I had allergies, I had asthma, I had rashes on my body, I had inflammation and swelling. I had a whole host of problems. And I went to see a doctor who basically gave me a wake-up call and said, Michelle, if you continue like this, I could see you having a heart attack by the time you're 50. You need to do something about this. Well, I decided to take her seriously. And at the same time, I had my fiance breakup. And so I had a really big heartbreak. And that led me to decide that I was going to make big changes in my life. And so I did. One of the things I did was I packed up my car and I decided to go on a road trip around the country. And while I was doing so, I decided that I was going to take up yoga and start eating healthy. I also took on meditation because I was working with a mentor, some of you heard me talk about, who encouraged me, or rather insisted that I do a meditation practice every single day. Through the process of taking on all of this physiological change, my whole mindset evolved as well without even really trying that much. I was sleeping better, I was eating better, I was feeling better in my body, which made me a lot more patient, kind, and appreciative of what I had. I was not as often like seeking the next thrill. Instead, I was starting to become more present and connected and grounded in the here and now. So how do you master your physiology? Here are a few elements that I've determined work really well for me. Number 1, I think first and foremost is sleep. Obviously, another thing is, what are you putting into your body as fuel? What are you eating? Cleaning up your diet, eating more natural foods, fruits, vegetables, and things that are not processed and filled with chemicals. Exercising, moving your body, doing yoga, breathing deeply, grounding into the earth, walking barefoot on grass, and then also getting still. Meditation, prayer, whatever it takes in order to slow down and connect to this moment right here, right now. The second component of mindset is your focus. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where are you directing your energy? What are you focusing on? Obviously, you want to ask, are you focusing on things that are negative or are you focusing on things that are positive? Are you focusing on working all the time? Or are you also focusing on your personal and spiritual development? Are you focusing on your thoughts and your emotions? Are you even aware of your own thoughts and emotions? I'll be honest with you, back in that time of my life, I wasn't. I was so uncomfortable with my own emotions that I was avoiding and distracting from any uncomfortable feelings. If you watched any of my videos, then you know that I'm a big believer now in diving into the discomfort and alchemizing negative emotions, letting them move through you fast, and then finding what's on the other side. What's the lesson? What's the gift? What's the blessing? So what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on all the things that aren't good enough and are not going well in your life? Or are you focusing on what you do have and what you can appreciate, and on looking towards a future and a possibility that you want to create? Before I go on with the other two elements of mindset, I want to invite you to take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and maybe even bless me with a comment below. Now, the third thing that really influences mindset is our beliefs. Now, our beliefs usually come from an unconscious place. Usually, most of our beliefs come from childhood. We form them at a time when we're really too young to understand the world, but we formulate these beliefs about how the world works. So, for example, as a young kid, if you had an abusive parent, you might formulate a belief that it's not safe to be in a relationship. Or you might formulate a belief that you need to be quiet in order to be safe, that you should be not seen or not heard in order to not get hurt, right? So our beliefs come from our past. And I haven't met a single human ever who doesn't have some sort of wounds from their past. No matter how amazing their childhood was, every single person has at least a few instances of situations that they couldn't quite handle when they were a kid, too traumatic, and that were wounding, and that led to some disempowering beliefs. So if you've got patterns and problems with things like money or relationships or health, chances are there's a deep-seated wound or belief that was developed young in your life that has contributed to that issue. So if you want to fix your mindset, you've got to examine your belief system. If you have an issue with money, for example, examine. Do you have a belief that it's hard to make money? Do you have a belief that you have to work really hard and sacrifice yourself in order to do well? So examining those beliefs and excavating those beliefs, that can help you move towards a different mindset in that area. And then finally, last but certainly not least, is your language. Your language is a powerful tool for creation and for not only reflecting your mindset, but creating your mindset. When you start to become more clear and precise in your language, you can start to create different outcomes. I'll give you a really simple example. I try to avoid, you may have noticed me doing this, using the word but. Like, for example, I want to be successful and make a lot of money, but I also want to help people. That word but would belie a belief system that you can't have both. So taking a look at your language and how it expresses a worldview that may or may not be in alignment with what you're trying to create in your life. Just noticing. Now, this is really, really hard for you to do on your own. This is where I think more than anything, having a coach, having a mentor, having an accountability system or group can really help you, where somebody can say, hey, wait. Notice what you just said. You just said the word but. Do you believe that these two things are separate, or do you believe that they can come together? So language is not only a thing that reflects how you believe or what you feel, you're also, when you speak, you're also listening to yourself and programming yourself with that belief. If you say something like, wow, being an entrepreneur is really hard, then you're creating more of being an entrepreneur is really hard. So being super mindful about everything that comes out of your mouth and examining it and asking, number one, do I really believe this? Number two, is this really true? And number three, is this the most empowering language to express myself around this topic? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are looking for ways to become more empowered and have a more healthy, supportive mindset for growth, let's connect. You can find me at superstaractivator.com/go or just click on the link below. I hope to meet you soon.